Hello, Quentin. How are you, brother? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you, Steve.
How you doing?
I'm all right. How's everything?
Oh, I'm okay, I guess. You had a good day?
Yeah. Today was a very interesting day. Very interesting day.
What kind of work do you do?
I work outside with electric linemen.
Okay. Okay.
Actually, one of the guys killed themselves last week,
Really?
committed suicide. I've known him for like 6 years.
Wow.
You know, them guys are like the top of the food chain when it comes to getting paid in Pennsylvania. Um, he lost his job, you know, and a lot of people can't handle being broke or going through financial problems, definitely with this pandemic.
Yeah. Had he been depressed for a while that you could tell?
Yeah, the company tried to work with him. They had actually gave him a job that they shouldn't have because he didn't have his license. He had lost his license because of his drinking.
Yeah.
And he wound up getting pulled over, and then the company had to let him go because they didn't want to be liable. And
Hmm.
he uh, he
Hey.
decided that yeah.
Hello there, Essence.
Hey, how are you gentlemen this evening?
Going
Good. How's everything?
Doing fine, doing fine.
How is
That's
the
good.
new show doing? Have you started what do you call it? The Let Me Hear Your Problem or something like that?
Oh, the Ask Essence.
Yeah.
It's a trial run right now. I had a couple fans reach out to me and they wanted me to answer some of the questions, and so it's a trial run. I'm trying out a few things before I actually solidify exactly what it is I'm gonna be doing.
Yeah. Okay. Hey, Bob.
Hi, Steve.
How are you?
Good. How you doing?
What's going on, Bob?
Hi, Quentin. Hi, Essence.
How you doing?
So, Bob, have you come up with some brilliant topics of current events for us tonight?
Oh yeah. I mean, the list is endless.
Oh, okay, good. I seen something you posted on Facebook today. I just had to shake my head, brother.
Say that again. I didn't catch that.
I said, I saw something you posted on Facebook today.
Oh yeah.
I just had
Well,
to shake my head.
I believe it. It couldn't get any worse than what we're seeing now. You know, while Trump was there, none of this stuff was happening. I'll tell you that. Countries were falling in line, and not because of military action or anything like that, but because they respected what he was going to do, and for them and for us at the same time. He was not a warmonger, and yet he got countries around the world to fall in line. The same can't be said for the person that's supposedly calling the shots now.
So, what do you think about the whole Taliban deal that's going on now? They took over Afghanistan quickly, didn't they?
Absolute total disaster that would have never have happened under Trump. Never. I mean, that's the biggest difference between the two right there. I mean, nobody respects, the America right now. When Trump was there, we were respected. I mean, say what you want about him. I know he rubs a lot of people the wrong way, but he got things done for our country for the better. I mean, to me, I don't know what's so hard to see about that.
Well,
Well,
in essence.
Um, I don't know. In some instances, I actually agree with Bob.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, because Trump did actually get a lot of things going. I think that there is a narrative that's running right now that Trump and the Republican Party wasn't going with when he was in office. And I'm not sure how much we could say about vaccines and stuff like that, but it's about vaccines and stuff like that.
Well, I guess I just never was on the Trump bandwagon, and I don't see me getting on it. So,
What is it that you don't like, Steve, about him or his policies?
Wow, we got all night,
Yeah, I mean, it's still the night is young.
Well, he's a crook.
But,
He's a con man. He's
how
a
so?
traitor to the country. He incited an insurrection on January the 6th. He's a racist.
But what do you base
go on and on and on, brother.
What do you base that on? I mean, what makes you say these things? I mean, what
Last
evidence?
4 years.
What?
4 years.
4 years?
Biden's a racist too, though.
Trump is not a racist. Trump has tried to do more for minorities than any other president probably in our history.
That doesn't mean he's not a racist, though.
No, he's not a racist. Believe me, he's not a racist. He cares about all people of all races.
Well, I know that you believe that, Bob, and I respect that, but
He's got a personality sometimes that is a little hard for people to stomach, but deep down, he's a good person who cares about people.
Wow. Do you believe that, Quentin?
Well, being a person that's originally from New Jersey and him being from Queens, I am a big Donald Trump fan.
You are?
Yeah. I think Donald Trump in the next 20, 30 years, if we're still a planet, if we're still a country, he will go down as one of the most influential presidents. History is going to be on his side.
Wow.
Because
that's wonderful.
I believe that he's against this globalist agenda that has been going on. I'm not saying that he's perfect. I believe that one thing that I can say is I believe that he did love America. I believe that he tried to put Americans first. And it's going to tie into Bob's show tonight with this, with what they're trying to do with the COVID vaccine. We are literally probably 12 years away from a borderless country if we don't get the right president in office. And it sounds crazy. We don't want that. Some of us don't want that.
Who would be the right president?
I'm gonna be honest with you right now, I don't see one on either side of those two parties because they're all bought by the lobbyists. Most of them are all pushing for what's going on with this COVID. Trump is not a Republican. Trump is actually more of an old school 60s Democrat than the Democrats that are now. These Democrats now are Clinton agents. They're all part of Bill Clinton and Hillary and what they're about. And even the progressives that were in the Democrats, they're done. They're done with Nina Turner not winning. They're done. The progressive movement, the squad would be wiped out the next couple midterms.
You think so?
Yeah. Because the worst thing they ever did was allowing Pelosi to become the speaker again. And now she's the speaker. And then what's going to happen, Jeffries is going to probably be the speaker next. And he doesn't get along with AOC. So
I don't think any of the Republicans get along with her, do they?
Well, he's Democrat. But the Republicans have an issue on their hand because they're stupid because they haven't addressed the racial issue in their party. And that's how Trump basically lost because the Democrats, in my opinion, did a great job with trying to say that he was racist. I mean, forget the rhetoric. What policy has he done ever disenfranchised a person? We can't say that for our president now. He's got 40 years of policy that says what he's about. Now, his rhetoric is on a whole different level. His rhetoric is he says a bunch of stuff that smooths you over. But even now, he's been in office. He hasn't done nothing for the common American. Even the infrastructure bill, it's garbage. You're going to give us a highway tax?
What do you think, the stimulus checks helped?
No.
Oh.
That's just trying to infuse the economy. But what they didn't know is that most Americans have went back to putting their money under their mattress, taking it out of the banks. Most Americans went to survival mode, like we all knew we had to do. Like we have. We just said, you know what, the hell with that. And this is where the Republicans should pounce on. Get the government out of our affairs. Because most Americans, I believe, are inherently conservative. Inherently. Leave me alone. Give me my gun. You do what you do. I do what I do. Man, don't hunt, kill. He don't eat. I believe that's the core of every American in this country. Just leave me alone. You do what you do, but don't infringe on my rights. And that, unfortunately, the Democratic Party are infringing on our rights. To lead to Bob's topic on the show, with this basically a COVID passport that a lot of these governors are pushing for, this is disaster about to happen. Disaster. Not only is it going to be a lot of,
it's catching on. A lot of places are doing it.
Yeah. So I think it's we're in interesting times.
Yeah. So what happens next, Bob? What do you think is going to happen next?
Well, Afghanistan is a total disaster. That's gone.
Yeah.
And I think it's going to be another victory for China. You know, they're the ones who will be taking over there. And a lot of those people may wind up coming here through our southern border because the administration that's in there now doesn't care about that either. You know, I mean, this is a total destruction of our country, which will lead to destruction in our world. That's, you know, hopefully will be stopped and soon. I think what Quentin was saying, I think this COVID is a disaster. I think the whole thing is a farce. And, you know, I mean, just the other day, what more evident, there was a cruise ship that the whole crew, every passenger was fully vaccinated, and yet they had an outbreak of this COVID thing. I mean, come on, you know, I mean, there's a lot of people who are being hurt by these shots, people who are having this debilitating injury. Some are even dying, you know. It's just this whole madness has to stop. For me, Trump can't come back fast enough. And I'm hoping that when these audits in Arizona and all these other states show all this fraud, that the people will demand that he be returned.
Let's play devil advocate. And I'm going to play devil advocate with Bob, even though I agree with him 1,000%. Booster shots. The vaccine has not been approved by the FDA. So a booster shot can't do nothing. It can't, you can't even get a booster shot because a booster shot is approved. The vaccine is not approved. The vaccine is recommended, highly recommended. So let's just start there. That's an issue. And then let's start with the vaccine. Is at your local drug fair, your CVS, Duane Reade, all these stores, Walgreens, whatever. Now, my job tells me I can't come back to work unless I get a vaccine in 2 weeks. I can't even get a doctor's appointment with my primary care doctor in 2 weeks. So now, a person who has a medical history, which everybody probably has one or two things. Oh, you're a little overweight. Get your cholesterol down a little bit. You might have a little high blood pressure. Everybody has something because that's just a human body. So now you're at a situation where you got to get the vaccine. But you got to get the vaccine within 2 weeks. You go get the vaccine from CVS. But before that, if you would have went to your doctor, he would have said, based off of your history, which the CVS farm tech, does not know your medical history, does not have your chart, does not know your family history, gives you the vaccine. Now you have a reverse effect.
I wonder, does everybody get the same dosage of the vaccine? How can we know?
And then you have those that may believe in God. So now we're playing with what God created, and I mean the immune system. the immune system is the most complex system in the human body. It is designed to fight off diseases. So now you have a vaccine, and if you study vaccine, placebos and stuff like this, you're having something that's basically trying to trick the immune system. That's dangerous. To me, that's dangerous. That's where science, to me, goes too far above the line. I've taken flu shots before, and flu shots, they literally give you that year's flu. So, and we can die from a common cold. I catch a cold, us four live in the house together. I catch a cold. I beat the cold because my immune system breaks the cold down. I give you three guys the cold. I can never catch that cold, that strand again. Because now my immune system has learned to fight that cold off. Why not just do the same thing with COVID? I mean, the way that, unfortunately, we've lost so many people with COVID, the way that I think we've all been exposed to an extent, and some of our bodies may have fought off the COVID virus. Now you got people saying they caught it twice. A lot of people with the vaccine have caught it. A lot of people that are in the hospital that got the vaccine. Then you got the people that are walking around with antibodies that are basically carriers of COVID.
You think this whole thing was planned?
It would be a hard thing to disprove if you understand the eugenics thing in this country and what has gone on, and you connect the dots with the people that are supposedly trying to push these vaccines. I mean, it's not a wild fetch conspiracy to know who Bill Gates is, who his family is, what they did for the youth movement, how they donated money. I think you would be a blind person to not see it. I think it was, you got money where people just go in labs and just try shit. So it's like an experiment to me that it could allegedly went bad. And I think I'm surprised that so many people are gullible about it. I'm surprised that so many Americans that understand the history of our country and the medical industry don't believe it can happen. I'm literally shocked that more people aren't pushing back. It's weird to me. It's weird. It's and they know. For people like me in Essence, we know Tuskegee. We know it. That is taught at our kitchen table.
I'm glad Tuskegee. You said that they aren't pushing back because there's so much other influences manipulating them into thinking that the vaccine is good for us. You got people like Juvenile remixing his old song, encouraging people to go get the vaccine. So it's a lot of other forces at play, and that's why a lot of people aren't pushing back, and a lot of people just aren't questioning enough.
Yeah. And that's the biggest thing. I mean, like I always tell people, it's no way that any of us on this panel can be anti-vaccine. We all took vaccines to go to school. So we're not technically what they would consider an anti-vaccine. I think what we are is we're pro-information. Whether you've had the vaccine or not, I'm never going to tell nobody not to take the vaccine. What I'm going to tell somebody is know your body, get with your primary care doctor, physician, and do what you think is best for you and your family. But to mandate something in this quote unquote republic, we're there. We are there. Like anybody that thinks that our civil liberties are not being infringed upon, they know nothing about what you've decided to do this whole podcast about, Steve. Even bringing it up to from the Revolutionary War up until now, we are at that moment where literally the Constitution is in jeopardy.
Well, there's a lot of people that say the Constitution needs to go. Yeah, I mean, there are a lot of those people.
Yeah, and that's the biggest thing. I mean, like I always tell people, it's not a
To go to what? So they can take over?
A lot of people think it should be replaced.
Yeah, but by what? The Communist Manifesto?
Well, that's
I
usually what they come up with, yeah.
I know,
I can tell you that I don't think the Constitution was initially intended for Black people or
You're
quote unquote
You're
minorities. However, I would never say out my mouth, I don't think we shouldn't have a constitution as well. I think that it goes back to like everything I believe that we've been doing, Steve, ties together. And without the stuff that he did, this is what Hoover was feared. This is what McCarthy feared. They feared that it was always socialism and communism that was always trying to penetrate this country. And literally, you have people who are from a party that will say openly, I am socialist. That's scary. That's scary. Now, I might say, well, you sure you mean you're progressive? But no, a socialist that you're literally trying to destroy the democracy. Now, I'm not saying we shouldn't come with changes and, amendments. It should always have had amendments for people and be able to be a equal protection under the law for all people, all of its citizens, women, men, Black, white, Latino, whatever. But to literally say that you don't want the Constitution, I mean, you're an enemy of the state. You're an enemy of the state. And
it is ironic, but when they're making the Constitution and saying all men are created equal, they did mean all white men. They didn't mean women. They didn't mean Black folks and Chinese. They meant the white rich men. That's the one they meant. Right, Bob?
Originally, yes, but I think as time evolved, I think that that's the first document in human history that ever gave the power to the people, and it was because of that women and minorities and Blacks were eventually able to be freed. Because if they didn't have that, they would have been stuck where they were. That's why America led the way in all those reforms around the world, because of the Constitution and the freedom that it provided.
We're very close to being in a totalitarian state. Basically, rich and poor. And I don't think none of us are going to be in the top echelon, the cream of the crop. But I'm gonna be honest with you, I don't even know if we can fight it any longer. I think it's here. I mean, I think it's on our doorstep. And this COVID thing is going to be the telltale sign of what's next.
Yeah, and that seems to change from day to day, what they tell us.
I mean, just think about everything that Real ID. What the hell is Real ID? The left has been telling us that the Real ID and voting rights and all this stuff have racial overtones. I don't think it has racial overtones. I think it's more of when you don't live in these big places, it's harder for you to get to a voting place. It's not like me that has the place across the street or a place, the schools are all voting places in some states. But I don't think it's racist. What they've done is they have tried to prove that it's racist, and they just need to be relieved of their duties. I mean, like how when you're in the military and the command gets relieved of their duties, get the MPs to come and they relieved of your duties. I think that Congress, they all need to just be relieved of their duties. And we need to vote all new people in from the left and the right and destroy all these lobbyists. The lobbyists have destroyed Washington. That's why you ran, Steve.
I know. But I'll never do it again. Well, Bob, what else do you want to talk about? I think you mentioned something about protests last week.
Yeah, you see protests, cropping up all over Italy, France, England, Spain. People are really beginning to rebel against all this COVID stuff. And you can see it happening here more and more. And I think they're only going to grow here. You see parents rebelling against schools, what they're teaching their kids, Yeah. I mean, everything is nuts out there, and it's up to the people to take their country back. And I think we will. It's going to, might get ugly for a while, but I think we'll come through. Yeah. And the Constitution will be.
It's starting to get ugly in Tennessee. Our governor has come out on the record as saying there will be no more restrictions as far as COVID. There will be no more shutdowns. There will be nothing, like it was last year. But then we got a bunch of other people, doctors and lawyers and such, are saying that we have to mandate these vaccines and things like that. It's causing a lot of internal struggles. People are getting violent in town halls and city council meetings. It's getting nasty.
It's going to get worse, I think.
Yeah.
But we have to save our country.
I think the biggest issue is the mandating, trying to get people, forcing people, the vaccinated people feeling as though the unvaccinated people are harming them. This country for the last 20 years have been promoting fear for so long. And all they got to do is put it out there a little bit in the media. So now people are very fearful for their own mortality, which is totally understandable. It's just how you deal with it. I think that one of the biggest issues that I have is that dissenting voice, is that you continue to censor big tech, which is in bed with all this stuff. That the only doctors and quote unquote experts that are on mainstream news and on social media are ones that are saying take the vaccine.
Yeah.
But what I think they didn't do is underestimate the will of the people. That people still know how to hardcore network. So the dissenting voice is spreading and it is rising, and they're tired. Just leave me alone. I just want to go to work, make my money, pay my bills, and leave me alone. And I think that if you continue to poke the bear is going to defend itself.
And it's getting poked a lot.
Yeah. You're poking him in his back, in his arms, his legs.
Literally, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So what else, Bob?
Well, I guess the next thing we wait on now is the audits, and when they come out, I think it might be a game changer. I think it'll wake a lot of people up. I think it'll show a consistent pattern in a lot of the states of what exactly happened, and then the people will hopefully demand the change that they deserve, that they voted for.
So you're talking about Trump being reinstated? Is that what you mean?
I don't see why not. I mean, if he legitimately won the election and it's proven so, I mean, why not?
I think if that happens, that will be big. I think that if those audits do go through, I think the midterms would be suspended. If he was to get reinstated, I think you would see a lot of people go to jail.
That would be a civil war.
And honestly, we may need that as a country to take a step back in order to really go forward. And that may not be a step back. If he legitimately lost an election from cheating, he deserves to be the president of the United States. I mean, this is what the people voted for. I think, and actually, the ramifications of it, if the audit goes through, is the electoral college might be in jeopardy. because it will show a bunch of illegal stuff going on where the people would demand serious change. I mean, as they say, drain the swamp.
Well, as you know, the census results have just come out. So this year they will be doing a lot of redistricting. Redistricting.
I think I don't understand that they suspended the census during the census, and like you said, Steve, it's going to be a lot of redistribution of wealth, a lot of redistribution of resources.
Yeah,
you didn't really have a proper census done, which most people will say was part of the agenda. It's amazing that one of the first things that came out was the census was the quote unquote white man in America is the numbers are low. That was the first thing that came out. That's all the news picked up on. Yeah, out of all these questions in the census, that was the first one. So I think we need to be very careful of the racial collide. It's not divide, it's a collide, because how they play on us with these statistics. And why was that the first thing to come out in the census? Out of all the stuff, it didn't say, well, Americans are not as intelligent or educated as they used to be. It didn't say none of that stuff. It just said the numbers as far as the interracial thing, and it had to be about race, I guess, it's part of the agenda.
Yeah.
And let me add this too to what we were saying. There are some natural cures that don't get talked about enough. That first of all, you have like a 99% chance of not catching it. And if you do catch it, you have a 99% of curing it with just your immune system. But there are some natural cures that you never hear about: hydroxychloroquine, ivermectin. You could get zinc, vitamin C. All those things help, with the COVID. So the last resort for me personally would be that vaccine.
I think that what Bob just brought up is not talked about enough, and I think it ties in with the evil industrial men who created the American Medical Association. Why they created the American Medical Association, why we have to use words when we talk about natural cures. We literally have to say alternative medicine. Zinc, vitamin C, it's not alternative medication. It's actually natural. Understanding that our bodies need the sunlight, understanding how you can boost your immune system naturally. I think that what's really scary is how the experts don't talk about that stuff. I mean, if you're a doctor, your job is to study and practice medicine. So you know what's in the drugs, the natural stuff. Why wouldn't you be promoting that to your patients? Just to be a part of an organization to be called the medical doctor and to practice medicine in this country. So I think that one of the ramifications of all this is that us four probably went back to our grandparents' old remedies and solutions to remember how you got rid of the cold? You put potatoes around your stomach, or onions. It pulled the fever. It pulls the fever out. Steve, it pulls the fever out. You put potatoes around your stomach. Yeah, because
I never heard of that.
Oxidation of the potatoes pull the heat. So it pulls the fever. So, you're putting garlic in your socks before you go to sleep. I mean, these were all quote unquote wise tales, but they were natural remedies that were passed down through all of our generations on how to cure yourself when you're not feeling well, you got sickness. So I think all of us, I think the majority of Americans have went back to those natural remedies.
A lot of the hospitals around here now are canceling elective surgeries because the hospitals are getting filled up because of COVID patients. And a lot of people need to go get, some kind of surgery. unless it's life threatening, they can't get it. So that's going to get worse and worse.
I mean, I would think right now, what would be very popular because it says existing health conditions. I would think fitness trainers and nutritionists would be on the rise in the country. I mean, if Jack LaLanne was still alive, I would think he would be like making a lot of money because this is what should be encouraged. I'm a big guy. A nutritionist should be trying to get in touch with me. Like, look, keep your weight down, eat healthy, eat clean, get your proper rest, make sure you drink a lot of water. Because at the end of the day, you don't want to get sick. Not just from COVID, but you don't want to have your immune system compromised to catch anything else.
So where do we go from here? I mean, this COVID thing gets here and they're going to politicize. They've already politicized it to the max. So is it just going to be one strain right after another, you think?
It will be, unless the people take matters into their own hands and not comply and push this thing back. They'll never stop until they have complete and total control.
So where do you see us 1 year down the road, Bob?
1 year down the road, I see us with hopefully Trump back in the White House cleaning a lot of this mess up. With the swamp being drained, the midterms, putting a whole new representatives in the government that are doing the will of the people, and we'll clean this mess up. I mean, I think it'll take more than a year, but we could take steps along, to get there.
And if Trump don't get reinstated, as you say, what do you see in a year from now?
Well, we have to clean up the next election so that there's definitely no cheating. And from everything that I've heard, the way to do that is to get rid of those computer ballots, and just one ballot, one person with an ID to show that they're a legal citizen and they get one vote. Otherwise, we'll never have, free and fair elections again.
Well, if everybody has one vote, doesn't that mean we're getting rid of the electoral college?
No, I mean, you have one vote in your particular state, and then your state sends your electors to the college.
But what about the electors that don't vote the will of the people? I mean, that happens. They're not legally obligated to vote the will of the people.
No, they're not. I think that, I don't know if that's ever happened. If it did, it's a very, very rare thing. And, if you see an election is won and an elector doesn't vote the will of the people, I mean, there has to be a means to be able to fix that. I don't know what that is, but I'm sure that, since it's never happened, it's never been tried.
How do we know it's never happened though, Bob?
Because the electors have always voted with the popular vote in their states. They've always sent the proper electors as far as the popular vote goes. It's never been an elector says, well, this guy won the popular vote, but we're giving it to the other guy. That's never happened, as far as I know.
Are you sure?
I'm not 100% positive, but if it's happened, it may have happened once many years ago. But it's not a common thing at all. No. And it's probably a very hard thing to do for those electors.
Yeah, seems like I have read somewhere that it has happened. But
it may have happened once or twice in an extenuating circumstance, but I don't think that's a very common thing.
Well, I hope you're right about that.
Yeah. We definitely have to get rid of the computers, though. They could be too easily manipulated.
You mean get rid of computers just in the election process, right?
For voting, yeah. One ballot, one ink pen, and one ID.
Hardcore, right, Bob? With paper.
Yeah.
Well, I think there's some small towns that still do that, aren't they? Maybe.
Yeah.
Probably.
I mean, the funniest thing about the whole thing with the election is, even if you don't think Trump is going to get reinstated, or if you didn't even vote for Trump, if you're objective, what have the Democrats done? I mean, we just wasted, in our lifetime, we've just seen our country throw away $2 trillion in Afghanistan, a country that is in the same exact situation it was from the day one U.S. troop stepped in that country. It is the same today. It is the same way it was from 4 presidents ago.
And how many lives have been lost?
Thousands, hundreds, millions. And we're talking about, as we would say, that's not a good return on your investment. When you have homeless people right here in this country. So I think that we need to really, really, really reel it in. Really get somebody who's gonna really say America first and putting America first and thinking about the American people, because we're back on the world stage again. We're back want to be the global police. So I guess we might be in a war. Hopefully not. I guess we might be in a war within the next 2 years, but hopefully not. I hope we're not in a war. I actually, in my opinion, wouldn't mind Trump to be back in office. I think the country needs it, to be honest with you. I just like it for the shakeup. Even if you don't like the man, I think the country needs to shake up.
It would be a shakeup, that's for sure. It definitely would be a shakeup.
It'll give us a lot of content to talk about on our podcast. We see a lot of people going out in handcuffs and all types of stuff. People will be partying in the street. A lot of protests, but some people will be partying like, yeah, he was right the whole time. I just think that this country is in major trouble.
Essence, you've been very quiet.
Yeah, I've been listening. I think that one of my biggest questions that I would have if Trump is found to have been the president is, why would they go through all of that to stop him from being president? Like, that is the question that is swimming through my head right now. Whoever misplaced the ballots.
Well, the thing is, and I'm quite sure Bob would love to answer this question. So I'll say something for a couple minutes, and then I'll definitely let Bob address that. I think Essence, the biggest thing is to understand what is a globalist and what has been the globalist agenda for the last 50, 60 years to have these borderless nations. What happened to the caravan, Essence? That caravan that was down there that everybody complained about during Trump's presidency, did they turn around? Or are they not coming? I say that in jest because a lot of us fell for what we would consider political theater and understanding how the media played on our emotion. So the benefit is just Afghanistan literally collapsed in 2 weeks. That would not have happened with Trump. Not that he's some mythical character. It's just that his policies that he had in place were not global. His policy was right, wrong, or indifferent, America first.
Yeah. Go ahead, Quinn. Yeah.
And to say that is, he wasn't policing the world. He was bullying the world. And sometimes you got to let people know, this is my playground, my ball. I'm going to take it and play with my friends. And if you don't like it, you can go find your own ball. But guess what? If I want your ball, I'll take yours too. It sounds crazy and it sounds dictatorial, but in all actuality, to understand our republic as Americans, we probably haven't had a puppet president since Kennedy, prior to him. This is why a lot of people say Kennedy got killed, because he wasn't swayed. He wasn't part of the military-industrial complex.
Have you heard the theory that Kennedy was killed by the global elitists because he was wanting to start a United States currency separate from the rest of the world? Have you heard that?
Yeah.
Have you heard that, Bob?
I haven't heard that. I've heard a million different theories. Mine boils down to it that he made a lot of enemies, him and Bobby, and they wanted him out.
Yeah.
One of the things, Essence, and I think this will speak to me and you more than anybody, and the reason why is because they use this as a racial rhetoric. His slogan, "America, we make America great again," had nothing to do with racism. It all had to do with 1913 and what happened in 1913. Federal Reserve, Social Security, and I think it's two more I can't remember offhand. What happened in that year? The country was in the middle of the Great Depression. So we lost our country in 1913. It became part of the global agenda. So I believe that his slogan, "Make America Great Again," was speaking to that of making America basically America again. Like up until
when did it become ungreat? What was the point it became ungreat?
I don't think it no longer became a republic. I don't think it's a sovereign nation anymore. I mean, look what's going on.
What was the point that happened? When was it great and the one that switched to being ungreat?
I think when that Federal Reserve kicked in, where most people say Federal Reserve, the first thing they think is, oh, it's part of the government. No, it's not. It's a total separate entity.
Wow.
It has nothing to do with it has nothing to do with the government. In our actuality, it has nothing to do with the United States.
Yeah.
We have nothing backing our money.
Now, the Federal Reserve is owned by the billionaires, tiny group of billionaires own the Federal Reserve, period. And it's, who controls the money controls the world, right?
Yeah. So Bob can answer your question now. I know he's chopping at the bit. I probably didn't do it justice.
I just quickly to answer Essence. I think they wanted him out of there because they didn't want him there from the beginning because he's a threat to their power structure and their money and their influence. And I think it's as simple as that. He's an outsider. He's not owned by anybody, and he doesn't play by their rules. So they wanted him out. I think that's what it boils down to. He's for the people. Everybody else in there, pretty much, with a few exceptions, is for themselves.
Just think of it, Essence. Most people believe that President Obama, his biggest thing for being the president was Obamacare, and from the surface, it looks like he got the Affordable Care Act, Obamacare, whatever way you want to word it. He got it passed. Now, allegedly, he didn't take any money from the lobbyists from Big Pharma, but that wasn't the issue with him. The biggest thing that President Obama did when Obama did the American people wrong is he bailed out the banks. And I don't care what side of the aisle you're on, him bailing out those banks was a problem.
Yeah.
I mean, Essence, if you were a homeowner and you lost your house, you would have wanted a bailout. Instead of bailing you out, he bailed out the lenders who lent you the money. What type of crap is that?
Yeah.
He bailed out the lenders who lent you the money.
Too big to fail, I believe, is the words he used, wasn't it?
Yeah. So that just shows that sometimes the rhetoric from the commander-in-chief and what they do and how they go about their policies don't align up. President Obama, when he started NAFTA, he did his announcement on the headquarters of Nike. Nike outsources most of their jobs. Mm-hmm. Nike don't have big manufacturing companies in this country.
Yeah.
That was a problem. And they went after Trump because guys like Bizio and stuff were getting all these tax breaks. You gotta give tax breaks to these big countries to come back, these big companies to come back. So the job market in America, America doesn't produce, well, wasn't producing enough prior to his presidency. And what he did is, right, wrong, and different, he got a lot of these big companies to come back. He plays golf too much. Most deals are made on the golf course. It doesn't take a rocket scientist to know that. Oh, Steve, I want to meet you. I'm coming to Tennessee. Oh, where are we going to meet at? Well, we're going to meet over coffee. I don't drink coffee. Let's meet at the golf course. This is what business people do. So, we as American people, I believe we have to not get caught up with the election cycle in the political theater and look at what's really going on and look how our civil liberties are being infringed upon.
Times are changing, for sure.
Yeah.
So what's the conclusion of it all, Bob?
The conclusion is that, summarize it, we're in the middle of an upheaval that is necessary, that may get worse here for the short term, but in the long term, the country and the world, when the good guys, triumph, will be better off.
According to
happen this year, will it?
According to the news, I shouldn't listen to Bob because Bob, where he's at, is bad in Florida. It's like Armageddon down there. They have pandemic running crazy. Meanwhile, not only Bob, but I got family in Florida, and guess what? My aunt just got back from another country. No problems. But the news says that Florida is just a bad place right now.
So are you close to, you in the hurricane path, Bob? I know, what is it? Grace or Fred?
Tropical storm. Yeah, Fred, a tropical storm. We've had our share of hurricanes, but this one, it's not to be too big.
Okay.
Thanks for asking.
Grace is right behind Fred, I think.
Yeah, I think that one's going more towards Texas for now.
Okay. Well, I don't know if we done anything good, but we talked about it.
Hey, Steve, I just want to give you some advice. Okay. When you put the when you put the podcast on YouTube, right? You got to put educational purposes only, because we might have said some words during the show that'll get this whole thing censored, and they'll say they won't let it post. So just make sure you put educational purposes only.
That is why I have been quiet, because I posted a video not too long ago that was removed.
Really?
And with a very nasty email. So I have been quiet about anything COVID vaccine.
The thing is, most of us, as they say, we don't believe stuff stinks until we have to smell it. And when they started purging, I don't know if you guys are on Twitter, when they started purging all those people on Twitter, I actually did a show on it. And I talked about it. And people were like, oh, why are you saying that? Because don't nobody care about Trump. Oh, you're just saying that because you like him? All this stuff. And I said, listen, you guys, censorship is not good for none of us. Yeah. And that's one of the things that Trump fought against that in that bill. And even Biden tried to fight against it. But big tech right now, this country is ran by two things: big pharma and big tech. So our First Amendment rights are really being put to the test. Mm-hmm. And this is why Bob gave us what is that? What's that website, Bob?
Gab.
Well, I joined it, but I
have another one I can share with you guys. And I'm not going to tell you guys it's right wing, because I actually got it from Tulsi Gabbard. One second.
You didn't like Gab, Steve?
It's not that I don't like it. I just can't get into it. I don't know. Maybe I just need to put more effort into it.
It's very free speech. I mean, they don't censor anybody.
Yeah.
It's called Rumble.
Oh yeah, Rumble. Yeah.
Yeah,
Rumble's pretty good.
Tulsi Gabbard has a podcast on there. She's starting, and I follow her on Twitter because I think she's a true American. And very interesting. If you like Ron Paul, you'll really like that. He does a lot of articles on there. He's, you know.
Rand Paul and Dr. Fauci are really having a good time lately, huh?
Fauci's not one of them. I don't think Fauci need to be handcuffed and led to prison on TV. He has done the American people wrong. He's been the biggest cause of the misinformation. Fauci was a bad guy during Trump, and then he became a good guy when Trump told him to shut up. Then he became a good guy once Trump left. It's a weird thing, the games they're playing with this. And this is the same guy that was around during the AIDS epidemic. It's the dangerous people we're dealing with. Like, they're fighting for their level. Literally, they're trying to be immortal. Like, you know, but that's a whole nother show.
Before we go, I want to tell you one thing I read recently that you may have already heard about it, but I didn't. It's interesting. That Barack Obama was really the son of Malcolm X. Have you heard that one before?
I actually did hear that before.
Did you? I read that somewhere. I thought, wow. Okay.
Yeah.
There's another theory.
Yeah.
All right, well, folks, I've enjoyed the conversation, so we'll see what happens. Hey, we got 16 whole people watched it last week.
It'll pick up. I mean, you know, don't get discouraged, Steve. I know
I am getting discouraged. I am. I mean, the first show we had over 100 people, Bob.
You're only in charge of one thing: putting content out there. That's it. That's it. You can't. We can't make numbers, Steve.
I know. That's true. That's true. Oh, well, it is what it is, right?
Yep.
Well, y'all have a great week.
All right, Steve.
Take care, you guys.
All
All right, take care, Quentin.
All right, bye-bye.